Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us this evening. My name is Sarah. I'm the head of communications in Gaisce. We know that this is the time of year when everybody is deciding what they're going to be doing for their Gaisce challenge areas. We work with an amazing group of challenge partners for all of our areas, including community involvement, which we're talking about tonight. And we thought it would be a really nice idea to get everybody together, bring a few of our challenge partners to give you a brief idea of how you can potentially explore working with their organisation to on their initiatives, their programs, that fulfill the requirements of the community involvement. Alison from the Alzheimer Society of Ireland, who is going to kick things off this evening. So, Alison, over to you.
Hello, everybody. Thanks very much, Sarah. Thanks for Gaisce for having me. I've done this for the personal skill, but we also have it for community involvement. So I'm going to touch a little bit on our program and on the areas that it covers, but it does focus a little bit more on the personal skill side. So I apologize for that. So I work for the Alzheimer Society of Ireland, and we have a youth program called Creating a Dementia Inclusive Generation. So very quickly, the ASI is the leading dementia services provider in Ireland, and we work with everyone in the heart of their communities. I work for the community engagement team, and we're building a dementia inclusive community nationwide, working to break down the stigma through education, awareness, and local action. So welcome to Creating a Dementia Inclusive Generation. The program was originally developed with the Dementia Service Information and Development Centre, just a mouthful, in St. John's Hospital. We are delighted to be here today as an official Gaisce Challenge partner. And this year, we're also delighted to have an accredited micro-module with the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment. So very quickly, because it's a thing that most students and most teachers and most people come to us with a background on what dementia actually is. So the WHO defines dementia as a syndrome in which there is a deterioration in cognitive function far beyond what you might expect in biological aging, which is chronic and progressive in nature. The most important part of that is the biological aging aspect. Dementia is not a natural part of the aging process. It is a condition, it is a disease. The other thing that comes up the most is that dementia is actually an umbrella term. Alzheimer's falls under this, and the other three most common forms of dementia are vascular dementia, Lewy bodies disease, and frontotemporal lobe. So if you think of it, dementia is the cancer, and there's lots of different variations. So what is creating a dementia inclusive generation, and why should we teach young people about dementia? 1 in 3 young people know someone living with dementia. It's often a grandparent, but more and more it can be a parent. In the last statistics taken many years ago, there were 64,000 people in Ireland living with dementia, and we estimate it to be far above that now. Over 4,000 of those people were living with young onset, which is anyone under the age of 65. I myself was 16 when my mom developed symptoms, so that's why a program like this is actually really, really important for young people. It's important that young people feel prepared, and educating people about dementia at a young age raises awareness and reduces stigma, creates empowerment through knowledge, promotes empathy and compassion, provides preparation for their futures, and creates a community of support. So how the program works, very briefly, it's run in 3 phases. Phase 1 and 2 is suitable for the personal skill section of Gaisce, and phase 3 supports the community involvement section. So our online course is the first phase, where students learn about aging, brain function, brain health, dementia, and the perceptions of dementia. Phase 2 is peer education, where students teach other students, be it primary school, the year above, the year below, first years, about what they've learned through phase 1 with a specifically designed toolkit. And phase 3 is community engagement, getting involved personally or through school in volunteering programs with ASI or other relevant groups like local nursing homes, and hosting fundraisers and maybe even information talks in their schools. And again, this year we're part of the national curriculum micro modules for TY, which brings us one step closer to dementia education being standard. So this is just a little background on the online course. So our 5 modules, you can see it's not all just about dementia. It's growing older, about the brain, a healthy brain, what dementia is, and perceptions. It's really, really interactive with videos, interactive questions, learning more activities, class activities, discussion topics, and the online course is also available through Irish. Then our peer-to-peer element, so that's the front cover of the brand new toolkit that we've developed. And Hannah has that to be able to send a bit of a teaser to everyone afterwards if you'd like it. But it helps young people not only take ownership of their learning, step out of their comfort zone by teaching what they've learned. And when you learn something from a peer, it hits differently. When someone's able to tell you maybe an experience they had with a loved one, it hits differently when you hear it from another 16, 17, 18-year-old versus when you hear it from an adult at the top of the classroom. So I'll go on to that. So this is just a few pictures of different students and different activities that students have gotten involved in. A lot of these would be for community involvement. So they do bake sales. At Christmas, it's great going over to play music. Some students go into our day centres and just colour in pictures. A few of the students there with their certificates. Elise is kind of a poster child for the programme. She won a Garda Youth Award for making fiddle mats when she did her own Gaisce with the programme a few years ago. So there is an extreme amount that can be done, whether it's personal skill or community involvement through the programme. So any questions or different ways you'd like to get involved, you can just come to me and I can answer them all. It's the back of my hand at this point. And lastly, the ASI is here for everyone and anyone facing dementia, whether you're at the start of a journey or you're a little bit concerned or you're in the thick of it. You can call the ASI 1-800-341-341. It's completely anonymous, or you can email at helpline@alzheimer.ie. That was a very whistle-stop tour, but thank you very much.
So would students need to complete phase 1 and phase 2 before doing phase 3, Alison?
No, they wouldn't necessarily, like if you just wanted to do community involvement, you wouldn't necessarily have to do phase 1 and phase 2 specifically for the Gaisce. We do encourage doing phase 1 because if you're going into a day center or a nursing home and you don't know what to expect, or you have a like movie version of dementia in your mind, doing phase 1 really gives young people an education on what dementia actually is and how to communicate with someone with dementia. So it's not, from a non-Gaisce point of view, it's not a necessity, but it is massively beneficial.
And we're now moving to a partner that has just come on board, pretty much, in the last couple of weeks. So I'd like to introduce Conor Reel, who is the Parliamentary Education Officer at the Learning Hub based in Leinster House, to tell you about, I suppose, the Oireachtas and how Gaisce participants can get involved with a really exciting programme that he has.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Hannah, as well for all your help with everything so far. So just to introduce myself, first of all, my name is Conor Reel, and I have the dubious honour of being the Parliamentary Education Officer. I was a secondary school teacher. I taught history, geography and CSPE for longer than I care to admit before moving into this role. So I have a short presentation for you. I'm just going to share my screen there with you now, and hopefully that's coming through okay for everyone. So yeah, so I work here in Leinster House, and really excited. It's something that's been on our agenda for quite a while to get involved with Gaisce, and finally we kind of had everything in place, and we're on board this year and absolutely delighted to be here. So I suppose normally when we're thinking about getting involved with anything to do with democracy and participation, I suppose really what we want to try and do as much as possible is, I suppose, make the workings of the National Parliament as accessible and as engaging for young people as we possibly can, because I think there is you know, unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation about the role of Parliament, the work of Parliament. And I think it's something that we have to try and work, you know, to try and correct and to try and improve. But with the best will in the world, having someone like me tell young people what to do with Parliament and how to engage with Parliament, it's not as effective. And I think it's exactly as Alison said earlier, you know, the impact of having, you know, a young person talk about Parliament, talk about democracy, talk about voting, it hits in a very, very different way and in a much more impactful and meaningful way. So it's really just trying to, you know, generate a sense of passion amongst young people about the role of Parliament, because we've seen over the years, you know, unfortunately, the turnout in general elections, for example, in the 18 to 21, 22 age group is significantly lower than in other age groups. So what we're trying to do is get young people involved in local democracy, in their, you know, in their own community. Okay, and when we talk about community, it can be your school, it can be, you know, your own area that you live in. We're pretty flexible around that. So essentially what we want to try and do is get a cohort of young people who will be invested, who will take the time, you know, to learn about Parliament, but to transmit that passion and that knowledge as well. So really it's that multiplier effect that, you know, however many people you talk to, it's much more effective than, you know, than a lot of other courses of action. Okay, so we're hoping that you will develop a lot of skills, a lot of experiences that are going to benefit you, you know, throughout your life. So not just you know, at the moment, but you're going to develop those skills and take them with you onwards. Okay, and hopefully you'll pass on those skills to other people as well. Okay, so it's going to be obviously a 13-week interactive program. So we're designing the program so that you know, we take you through step by step the work of Parliament, the work of the Oireachtas, the role of TDs, senators, how laws get created, but also then how you develop your debating skills, your facilitating skills, you know, planning a program where, you know, for example, you deliver a workshop to your year group, to a class group, to a community group, whatever it's going to be. Okay, and we give you the skills and we give you the sense that, you know, you can actually go and you can deliver those sessions. So the 12 of the 13 sessions are going to be online, so we'll try and guide you through those as much as we possibly can. And hopefully then our 13th and final session, subject to the demands of Parliament and getting space, we would really, really like to see you in Parliament in Leinster House for the last session, where you get a chance to maybe, you know, interact with the TDs, with the members, and tell them about the program and say, you know, this is what I've been doing. We need your help now to really promote interest in civic participation and democracy amongst young people. Okay, so that's the plan around it. And so we really want you to try and just develop a sense of appreciation and active participation, active citizenship in democracy. Okay, so we're going to cover, as I said, quite a range of different topics here. And I think one of the issues that particularly young people face is actually understanding the work of Parliament, the role of Parliament, all the different aspects and actions that go into making up parliamentary activity. So we're going to have lots of workshops, lots of role plays, mock elections, very topical given what's happening at the moment, and guest speakers. Okay, so we will try and get some of the politicians on board, some of the TDs, some of the senators, and just, you know, so that you can hear their insight into what makes up active citizenship and democracy for them. And then in terms of skills development, so looking at particularly important given in the run up to the election, so things like critical thinking, building your teamwork and leadership skills, your confidence in terms of, you know, standing up in front of a group and presenting your ideas effectively, and your public speaking skills as well. Okay, so they are some of the goals that we want you to get out of it. Okay, so I've kind of talked about these already, but your active citizenship really, and just that idea of building confidence, you know, taking that little step more just to engage with people and just to explain to them, this is why I'm getting involved in this, and this is why democracy matters, why it's so important to me, why it should be important to you, and why it should be important to everyone else as well. Okay, so I mean, it is just something that we're really excited to be involved with. Okay, so as I said, we're looking at it in terms of we're giving you kind of hands-on political engagement. So engaging in debates, looking how a debate gets structured and how you can get your message across very effectively. Okay, so we're really looking for you to develop as a person, first of all, but then to take those skills and bring them to a broader community, to realize that, you know what, I am actually someone who could stand up in Parliament, who could sit in a committee and deliver an effective presentation on an issue that matters to me and that matters to my community. Okay, so we're looking to build not just kind of, you know, politicians in the future. That would be very limiting, but we're actually looking to build future citizens, and that you can take the skills from that program and then, you know, you can really broaden it out into your community as well. Okay, so I'm more than happy, and again, it's a very, very quick tour through the program, but it's one that I think will be of interest to people. Certainly, any programs that we run day to day tend to be quite popular with young people. So I'm more than happy to answer any questions. I'll certainly stay on until the end. But just to say thank you very much. And like, if you think of anything and want to contact me, I'm sure the team will pass on my details. So I'm more than happy to answer questions. I know it is quite a lot to take in. Certainly anything to do with Parliament can be a little bit difficult to access, but that's part of my job, is to make sure that, you know, you do understand it, and that if you do want to engage with us, you are more than welcome to do so.
Through from Tony. So is this available for online for young people outside of Dublin? So we might answer that first, and I think there's a second part of the question then.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And it's something that we'd be particularly keen to explore. Is, you know, there has been that perception that, you know, everything tends to be Dublin focused when it does come to Parliament. So absolutely, listen, I'm from Limerick myself. I am all in favour of broadening reach as much as we possibly can.
Very good. And would the skills training be available in Easy Read for students with disabilities, for instance?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we're very aware of, you know, the need to make this as accessible as we possibly can. So we would certainly embrace the principles of universal design and to make sure that everyone has access to it. So, you know, we have you know, anyone that needs, we have ISL interpretation available as well. So yeah, absolutely.
Very good. I might ask, because you mentioned that the 13th week then involves a physical trip to Leinster House.
Yeah.
So is there a restriction on the size of the groups that that can get involved in this?
30 would be the absolute maximum on it, because what we would envisage that there'd be a tour of Leinster House as well. And given that it was built in the 1740s, it's not the most it's not the easiest of buildings to negotiate. So just in terms of a tour, now if we had big numbers, we could possibly look at putting on 2 tours. So just maybe to be aware of that 30 at a time would be just for the tour purposes.
Okay. Let's see how it goes. As I said, we're just starting to work with Conor kind of right now, which is very exciting. We're now going to move on to something a little bit more active. And I'd like to introduce Peadar O'Lovna. Peadar wears a lot of hats. He is a Gaisce Gold awardee. He is a pal, but this evening he is here speaking to us here in his with his water safety hat on. So Peadar, I'll pass it over to you, and thanks for joining us.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you, everyone. As Sarah said, my name is Peadar O'Lovna, and I'm wearing a number of hats. So tonight, I'm the chair of Monaghan Water Safety, or Water Safety Ireland Monaghan branch. But as Sarah said, I'm a bronze, silver, gold award holder, and also a pal for the last 12 years. So I'm sort of combining all my Gaisce hats and water safety hats tonight. And my presentation, I only have one slide, so it's very simple, but I am being very cheeky, and I know that tonight is focused on community involvement, but with Water Safety Ireland, you can actually use water safety activities for all 3 aspects of your water safety, or for your Gaisce sections. So I'll start with community involvement first, because that's the big one that we're talking about tonight. So community involvement generally would be for those people that have water safety experience before, and I'm talking to people that are maybe have done their Rescue 2, Rescue 3. If you've done any water safety, you would know what that was, and to go on to the next step and become a volunteer instructor or examiner. So for my bronze and silver, I trained as a volunteer instructor for my community involvement, and then for my gold award, I trained as an examiner for my personal skill. So as well, you've finished your water safety sort of levels, which I'll talk about for the personal skill, and you now want to sort of go about, get involved with your local area committee or get involved with your local pool and volunteering for an hour a week, 2 hours a week, teaching a class. And getting involved at committee level. So getting involved at committee level, we have committees all over the country. So we are based on a local level. So from Ballyshannon all the way down to Bantry, from Galway all the way over to Dublin. Get involved with your local community. That is where you will undertake your water safety training, whether this is skill, community, or physical recreation. And the easiest way to get in touch with your local area is your county name at watersafety.ie. So if you're from Monaghan like myself, it's an email to monaghan@watersafety.ie. If you're from Galway, Galway@watersafety.ie, Dublin @watersafety.ie, and that will give you a list of the local pools that Water Safety Ireland is running classes in that you can get involved. So that's sort of the community involvement aspect. So you've done a bit of water safety, you want to get back as a volunteer instructor, examiner, or getting involved at committee level. So helping with admin, helping teaching classes, helping with display stands, different things like that. Every committee does something different. Personal skill, we run a series of awards, safety, survival, rescue, basic life support, pool and beach lifeguards awards. So again, if you're coming in, I am actually going to be teaching a lovely class now at 7:30, and they're all Gaisce bronze and silver participants, and they're all using water safety as their personal skill. Generally, your class would be about 8-10 weeks, but you'd go through each of the various sections and build up your awards. So by the end, if you've passed all your various awards, not only will you have a Gaisce medal and a Gaisce certificate, but you'll also have a water safety certificate as well for the various awards. Just to put it in context, so on average for the last 5 years, around about 116 people drown in Ireland every year. And of that, under 18, it's 23 under 18s have drowned in Ireland. So just think about that. That could be your French class, that could be your English class. And if somebody got in trouble in the pool, in the beach, you're on holidays, anything like that, would you know what to do? And what you will learn in these water safety classes is what to do if somebody gets in trouble in the water, and what to do if you get in trouble yourself and you need to be able to stay safe in the water. We also run BLS, or basic life support CPR classes, as well as part of our awards. And at the moment, so I'm teaching since 2007 is when I qualified as an instructor. I would say that I'm now up to 6 people I have taught who have gone on to save other people's lives through CPR and through rescuing from pools and beaches as well. So their skills is what I'd say is you hope you never have to use, but you want to have them in your back pocket so you know what to do if it happens. And again, skill development from your simple rescues, ring buoys, rope throws, all the way up to contact rescues, spinal injuries, everything like that. And again, once you get to the more senior levels, again, you can qualify as a pool lifeguard or a beach lifeguard and gain employment out of it as well. Then for the physical recreation, we have our life-saving sport teams, and Ireland is very successful in life-saving sport. We were at the European Championships a couple of weeks back, and we won a number of medals. And again, if you're living in counties where life-saving sport is an option, not every county runs it, but some counties do, joining your life-saving sport team would count as your physical recreation section for any aspect of the award. I know some people are asking, are these only bronze, silver, or gold? You can use water safety for any level of the award, gold, silver, or bronze. So like I said, it's 1 hour per week, depending if you're doing your bronze, silver, gold, so 13, 26, or 52 weeks plus your extra week. You will need to contact your local area committee. So again, that's your county name at watersafety.ie to find out what pools they're running in. And what days of the week they're running, because everyone, it depends on pool hours and it depends on the county as well. Please note that this is for winter programs only. So some of you may know that we would run water safety weeks during the summer in your local lake or in your local river. That will not count. That will only count towards 1 hour of your week if you happen to do a water safety week. So you'll have to look for a winter program where it's a repetitive class over the winter period from September to May. But like I said, more than happy to ask any questions, whether it's about water safety, whether it's about what to do when you're 17 weeks into your Gold Award and you don't want to continue on, what motivation you need for that. And just a huge thank you to Sarah and all the gang in Gaisce for giving us the opportunity to talk to you tonight.
Next up, we have again a really new challenge partner who came on board earlier this year. Without further ado, I think actually just to mention, I think if we're talking about challenge partners that offer accessibility, I think look no further than our next challenge partners. So I'd like to welcome Rhonda McGovern from Éireann to tell us all about how you can earn your do your community involvement for Gaisce with Éireann.
I'm a postdoctoral researcher with Éireann, and I once heard the term being described as a gun for hire. So somebody who's doing a postdoc has done doctoral research, therefore they're kind of zoned in one area, so they have expertise in a particular field, like a gun for hire. My doctoral research saw me rescue meteorological or weather data from the first millennium BCE in Babylon. And now I work with Éireann's National Climate Archive. So the archive, you can see images on the screen. They're all the kind of books and boxes of records we have. That is the actual archive in Éireann. And it contains catalogued handwritten records back to 1829, Phoenix Park being the oldest of that. We have copies of diaries held by other archives back to 1734. And 6 years ago, in various locations, 150 previously undocumented manuscripts were found. So and we have an active shout out actually for if anyone has an attic full of records that they just come across. So the archive is growing all the time. The Irish Weather Rescue Data Rescue Project, which is what I'm talking to you about tonight, asked participants to digitize rainfall values from images online. These images are on paper format, so that means they're kind of currently inaccessible to anyone who wants to do climatic investigations. So in order to make them accessible, we need to make them digital, and that's exactly what's happening with this project. By somebody going on to the platform and making an account, they get images where they see the values and they type them into the corresponding boxes. I'll show you that in a minute. We have 3.5 million daily rainfall observations. It's quite a lot, but with many hands make light work, which is why we've gone this citizen science route and we're asking people to get involved. There sometimes is a feeling of pressure because it's important data that we need. That we need to be able to see what's happening in the long term to be able to help us. The data fits to our climate model, so it helps with understanding past events as well as what's the difference in the present and what might happen in the future. So we like to let people know they're not the only ones transcribing an individual sheet. There'll be 3 other people doing the same thing. So it's important work, but it's okay. We all make mistakes. There will be 3 other people. So these are examples of the sheets that the participants will be digitizing. These are from the daily rainfall series, for which we have 3.5 million daily observations. Each of these records a whole year. And there are 2 main ways that participants can digitize data, either by the rainfall values themselves, which is on this sheet. And with that, participants can see the month that's printed on the sheet is the month they digitize. And then there's even lines you can draw using this pencil tool so that your eye is guided to where to the data that you have to digitize. And then when it comes to metadata, if they choose the metadata route, they are asked for the station, the unit of measurement, and the observer's name. So there's a drop-down menu with all the stations. You start typing, it pops up, you click it, you move on, and then you're asked for the unit of measurement. And it's the same thing, it's a drop-down menu. The only thing that's not a drop-down menu is the observer's name. So the benefits of choosing this project, well, the first hour, no matter which, if you're doing bronze, silver or gold, the first hour will be an introduction session that involves a short presentation about historical climatology and the importance of recovering this data to help us understand how our climate is changing. And then it's followed directly with hands-on workshop where the participants experience using the actual platform. And ideally this happens in person because it's kind of important to troubleshoot any issues that participants come up with. So if you're based in a school or an organization and you have a group, I will travel to your place for that. But if for some reason you know that's not possible for where you are, then it can be conducted online. And there's lots of material on the site as well to help, you know, after the introduction session, if somebody's gone back to it a week later and they're like, oh, what did she say? How do you do that? Oh, everything is up there. So there's how-to videos, there's frequently asked questions, there's a discussion forum where participants can post questions or comments. And there's field guide, which acts like a cheat sheet for some of the kind of more unusual things that you might get on the rainfall sheets. And there'll be updates throughout the duration of the project with an aim of fostering a sense of community and to encourage progress. The biggest, I think the biggest kind of hook for young people is that it's a climate action. It's a direct climate action. Through this project, each participant actively contributes to science. The sooner we get this data, the sooner we have it accessible, the sooner we can use it for climate investigations. It's really important work. So it's kind of something that, in my experience of going around to schools, that students seem to kind of click onto. But it is important. It's important for us. So then prior to starting the project, if you choose this project, I will send you out a very short document on how the participants will register on the platform. The progress that they make is logged automatically by the system. I was a PAL for many years. I know they struggle sometimes of getting people to log their hours properly. I know it's changed and it's online now, which is brilliant. But this does it automatically, so they don't even need to worry about that. And then when the project's underway, not to overwhelm anyone at the beginning, I will send out another short document which outlines how they can access this. And it looks like this, essentially. You've got whatever projects you're involved in, because quite often when people get involved in these projects, they go into the sphere of Zooniverse, which is the platform that hosts it, and find other things they're interested in and do stuff. So you can pin that down, you can pin the duration, you can go with classifications, or you can go with hours. And at the end of it all, then you can print a certificate so that there's a trail of the work that's been completed throughout the Gaisce process. So if there's anyone even mildly interested in the project, I'd recommend taking a picture of the screen now. The QR code sends you to this website, it's directly to our platform page on Zooniverse. And if you want to get in touch with me, this is the email address you can catch me at.
Thank you very much, Rhonda. I think that's so interesting. And I love that you can be anywhere in the country and access it and also find out what the weather was like a few years ago in that particular area. So yeah, I think it's a really great one. I just have a curious question. So if a young person is doing their Gaisce for an hour a week, how many pages of the historical records do you think would they get through in an hour?
So it depends. It depends on a few factors. So we're working with a group with special needs down in Cork, and their work rate is much slower than maybe another group that we're working with in another place. So, but on average, like every 3 minutes, one sheet would definitely be done.
Yeah.
That's at a slow enough pace.
Yeah.
So now in saying that,
so they can still do quite a lot.
an
hour.
Yeah, a lot. And every sheet that comes up will be just 1 month.
Yeah.
So, they'll easily cover a year. It might not be the same station or whatever. They could easily cover a year. And they can zone in on whatever stations they want. So we've broken it down by province, then by county, and then by station. So you can really get into your local area and go, well, we've done more than you, our neighbours.
Absolutely. And yeah, like you mentioned, I suppose this information is used then how is it used?
So it's really important that we have 4 people looking at it, because our first check of the data is that if 3 out of 4 are in agreement, then that's exactly what's on the sheet. It's right. So we go through a process of various other checks to quality control the data, and then it's passed over to colleagues who incorporate it into our existing databases. And then from there, it can be accessible. The plan is, we're not that far through yet. The plan is to upload it to our own Éireann repositories, but then also data rescue ones that are accessible to other climate scientists and researchers the world over.
Okay, so really young people who take part in this are helping research.
Absolutely, yeah. Actively contributing to science. It is a climate action.
So that's brilliant. So now we're going to move on to something a little different and introduce Molly from Young Social Innovators, who we have been involved with for many years in Gaisce. So I'll pass you over to Molly.
Hello everyone. It's so lovely to see you, and it's so amazing to get to hear about all of the different programs. I'm getting so many great ideas as I get to listen to them as well. So Young Social Innovators, we've actually got quite a few different programs. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'll do a slideshow which just kind of tells you a bit about Young Social Innovators in general. Then I'm going to end the slideshow and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about those various programs, and I'll kind of signpost you where on the website to learn about a bit more. As Young Social Innovators, so change the world for good. Okay, so your chance to make an impact. So Young Social Innovators is a nonprofit organization that empowers you to use your talents, insights, passion, and creativity to come up with innovative solutions to social challenges. So through engagement with YSI, reimagine the world into one that is more caring, equal, and fair. You use your voice, you wield your agency to bring your ideas to life. Okay, so what do you do? So basically there are a few different programs you can get involved in, but in all of these, you work in teams to address some of the world's most challenging social issues head on through creativity, collaboration, and expert guidance. You learn about the principles and practice of social innovation, social entrepreneurship, activism, and advocacy. You develop vital life skills like communication, public speaking, critical thinking, business planning, and community engagement. And throughout all of these as well, we give really good resources to all of the PALs and to the teachers or youth workers in order to encourage young people to come up with these ideas. Okay, so this is what some of the peers are saying. The amount of opportunities and all that we've gotten through YSI has been absolutely incredible. It gives you an opportunity to have a say in your own future, in your own education, in your own community. It feels so good to know that some small change that we've done has made a big difference nationwide. Okay, so this is the highlight of some of the YSI programs. So for example, the Speak Out Tour within our Activate, which is our flagship program, young people take to the stage and they tell young people, their peers, they tell experts about their ideas, and those happen nationwide throughout the year. That's part of Activate. So YSI Den is kind of like Dragon's Den, where young people get to pitch their idea to a panel of experts to get funding and also mentorship as well. The YSI Den is for 2 of our programs, so I'll talk about that a bit later. And then the YSI Awards, that would be part of Activate as well. So that's an award ceremony and a celebration of excellence in youth-led social innovation. Okay, so I'm not going to play these here, but what I'll do after this is I'm just going to link you to the YouTube so that you can learn more from young people about some of the projects that they've created as part of Young Social Innovators. Okay, so I'm just going to very quickly tell you about some of the different programs we have because there are so many. But I guess the biggest one, the one that a lot of people would know us about, is our flagship program, Activate. So Activate, over 5,000 young people take part in every year. It is mostly transition year pupils. Now it is open to Oireachtas and other youth organizations as well, but because it really is from September to May, it is mostly TYs who do it. So I'll tell you about some of the others as well in case that doesn't suit yourselves. That's the one with the public speaking and the awards. That one is a TY micro module approved by the NCCA, if there is anyone here who is coming from transition year. So Ignite Community, now that's very similar to that, but that one actually is a bit more flexible. So it's better for a lot of youth organizations. That one does, for the very first time this year, we have the Den Plus. So you still get to do that Dragon's Den opportunity. So that would be kind of the more flexible option of the flagship program Activate. Then there's also sprints. So those again are a bit more flexible. That one you're looking at 13 hours. So, you know, a lot of people would do it for right before Christmas for this time period or after Christmas. So that one is focusing on either inclusive futures or climate change. So with all of those as well, we're giving the teachers and the youth workers within those organizations the really good resources in order to inspire the young people and to guide them through that process throughout the 10 weeks or throughout the academic year, whichever you decide to do. So those were some of the main ones I wanted to talk about. And then I guess kind of one thing to let you guys know about with Young Social Innovators is, you know, sometimes what happens is the group, as they do the resources, they realize that they're actually really passionate about dementia. And then at that point, you know, you could also be working with the Alzheimer Society or, you know, water safety as well. So we kind of link in with those other programs so that you're doing your Gaisce, you're doing your Young Social Innovators, and you're also being connected with someone, you know, with some of those other organizations as well. So there is that flexibility there. Another couple of opportunities I wanted to tell you guys about is, first of all, the YSI Youth Panel. That's quite new. That's our youth advisory group. They meet once a month and they get to experience some of the different programs and they give us directly feedback on those programs. So that could be your volunteer experience as well, particularly if there's participants here who are individual who aren't within a group. The YSI Youth Panel might actually be a good way for you to get involved, because the other ones that I spoke about, you really have to have a teacher. You have to have what we call a YSI guide. And then the final one I just wanted to tell you guys about is just our Sparks workshops. So those can be really good just if you're really, really struggling to come up with ideas for one of our programs or in general. What those are is one of our facilitators come to your youth organization or to your school. They're free and they would deliver the workshop. One of our most popular ones, for example, is all about the Sustainable Development Goals. So they come to your organization and they give, you know, they do a 2-hour-long facilitated workshop. So you can kind of generate ideas through that.
To introduce again another relatively new challenge partner for us, and it's Maureen Taggart from the Dundalk Institute of Technology.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Maureen Taggart, and I work in DKIT with the H2O Heroes, which is based in the Centre for Freshwater Studies, and we are one of the partners of the United Youth Initiative. So just a little bit of background on H2O Heroes. H2O Heroes is a nationally recognised leader in environmental education, founded by researchers in DKIT Centre for Freshwater and Environmental Studies around 7 years ago. The programme uses interactive science-based learning to foster environmental awareness and water stewardship among young people. The team publishes its research outcomes in academic peer-reviewed journals, and it contributes to the evidence base for environmental education. So the United Youth Initiative Programme, which is a Peace Plus funded project and is running for 3 years, is a consortium which includes DKIT's H2O Heroes, based in the Republic, based in the border counties of Louth, Monaghan and Cavan, Healthy Kids, Boys and Girls Clubs of Northern Ireland and Peace Players, and they're all based in Northern Ireland. Our initiative brings young people from diverse backgrounds together under the theme of healthy mind, healthy body, healthy environment. And over the past months, we have delivered a range of activities, including environmental education, creative workshops, sports sessions, and good relations workshops. These experiences are designed to encourage personal growth, well-being, and most importantly, to foster relationships among young people and young people. We successfully completed 4 summer camps in DKIT and 1 in Virginia, County Cavan, and we engaged with over 300 young people. The camps were free and our whole program is free. So the program consists of 30 hours of contact with the young people, and we do that through camps, or we also have a 10 to 12 week program, depending. We may do a large activity at the end and bring them to DKIT, but it depends on the location, but it's 30 hours of contact over the duration. So the program, we undertake some basic sports skills, and when I say basic, I mean basic. So it's really aimed at people, young people who don't really like sports, and it gives them a taster. So we do things like, badminton, archery, dodgeball, basketball, all non-competitive. It's more getting them up and active and trying something without being in a competitive environment. So like a lot of the children would never have played sport, or don't like sport. So our Good Relations and our workshops are based on content from the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northern Ireland, and they've been dealing with children from diverse backgrounds for years. And the content is, we try to foster understanding between younger people and challenge the perceptions and the preconceived ideas of how people look and, where they're from, etc. And we also do some art work using various mediums, including nature-based resources. Basically, go outside and find something to make some art with. So we have our environmental content consists of exploring the Sustainable Development Goals. So we do a few sessions on that, and with various activities that we bring the young people through. And then we also use our rivers to. So what we do is we use macroinvertebrates from river samples to assess the water quality of the river or the stream or the catchment area. So the young people learn to identify these little creatures, and from that they can identify then if the river is polluted. There's scorecards that that we have, and from that they can assess if the river has been polluted, mildly polluted, or whether it's a clean river. So we look at pH and oxygen levels in those water samples as well. So using these tools, the young people can become stewards of their local rivers and streams and catchment areas. And also, they can kind of understand that when you pollute somewhere, it eventually ends up in our freshwater systems. So we also do some science experiments. We've been blowing up coconuts and making slime, and we have a huge host of just fun activities for the young people to engage it. And at the end of the program, we hope that our participants would then volunteer on our program. So to help out, because we need obviously, various number of people for bathroom breaks, etc., and to help then with delivering some of the content. And so that would be the aim of the program. So we're brand new to Gaisce, and we're the United Youth Initiative is a bronze challenge partner, and we're really, really, really pleased. And we're absolutely delighted to be involved with yourselves. So
is there a limit on the amount of young people that can take part at any one time?
So we, in our 10 to 12 week program, we would be looking at 30 to 40 is probably the most comfortable number. And for the camps, we had 77 at one stage now when we were in DKIT, but we had a lot of we had PhD students helping out, and we were able to, because it's such a large campus, we were able to move them around the place. But it just depends on the size of the venue and what resources are in the venue. But 30 to 40 is probably the most comfortable for the sessions.
thank you very much for joining us for our Community Involvement Challenge Partner Showcase, and hopefully we'll talk to you all very soon. Thank you very much.